Hi, boys and girls. Ready for a story? I have another book by our friend Don Freeman, and this one has a new character in it. The new character is called Inspector Peckit. Do you know what kind of animal Inspector Peckit is? If you said pigeon, you're right. Now, some children recognize this building in the background. It's not from around here. This is the Eiffel Tower, and it is in France. France is another country where they speak a different language. They speak French. So our little friend the pigeon has a special hat on called a beret. And a beret is something that gentlemen in Paris wore. Probably not today, but maybe when this book was written. I hope you enjoy it. And there's our author, Don Freeman. On the back, Don Freeman has chosen to do something different this time. This time, he has listed other books he's written. I see corduroy, dandelion. I see mop top. Ooh, one we haven't read, Norman the Doorman, and a rainbow of my own. Who knows? Maybe we'll find those later in the year. But for today, let's enjoy Inspector Peckit. Looks like somebody had written their name in this book and gave it away, so they crossed their name out. Now it's ours. Inspector Peckit by Don Freeman. He's the author because he wrote the words, and he's the illustrator because he made the pictures. High atop a chimney stack, a bright-eyed pigeon named Peckit stood gazing out over the rooftops of Paris, cooing to himself in French. Being a clever detective, Peckit was forever seeking new mysteries to solve. Even at this moment, he was observing a sad little girl with tears in her eyes who was looking out of a window nearby. Peckit sensed instantly that something was wrong. Always eager to be of service, he flew over and alighted on the window ledge. That means he landed. "Peckit's the name," he said politely. "Inspector Peckit, at your beck and call. Why, may I ask, are you crying?" "Oh, you wouldn't understand," replied the girl. "I lost my new knit bag today, and I can't find it anywhere. It was a birthday present from my grandmother." Cocking his head to one side and speaking in both impeccable French and in pidgin English, Peckit corrected her. "Pardonnez-moi, mademoiselle," which means excuse me, miss. "I am a private eye detective, and finding lost articles is part of my job. Now, tell me, what is your name, and where do you think you lost your bag, and what does it look like?" "My name is Annette," the girl answered, wiping away her tears. "I think I must have lost my bag in the Luxembourg Gardens where I play. Or maybe I dropped it on my way home. It's small and round and white." While Peckit was making a mental note of these clues, he noticed a fluffy cat curled up on the floor. "Confidentially, mademoiselle," he said, "I must tell you that I already suspect your cat. When it comes to small round things, cats are not to be trusted." Annette was horrified. "Oh, no, Inspector. Cativa would never hide anything from me. Never." Peckit eyed the cat sternly. "Have no fear, my friend," he said, spreading his wings. "This mystery will be solved before the day is done." Peckit flew straight to the Luxembourg Gardens and landed on a bench. He peered suspiciously at everyone around him, which is the way detectives are apt to behave. Not far away, a squirrel picked up a small round object and quickly stowed it inside a hole in a tree. "Aha!" said Peckit. "There's the scoundrel." But when he peeked into the hole to investigate, something nipped him hard on the beak. "Oh, excusez-moi," he squeaked. "I've made a mistake." Although his feathers were ruffled, Peckit... Did I miss a page? Yep. Although his feathers were ruffled, Peckit was undaunted. Suddenly, right there on the ground below him, he spied a small, round, white thing. Down he swooped and scooped up a ball of string that a boy was about to tie onto a toy sailboat. Then Peckit flew directly to Annette's window. "Voila!" he said, as he set the ball of string upon the windowsill. "Here is your lost bag." "It was nothing at all. Call on Peckit any time." He strutted along the sill with his tail feathers fanned out like a proud peacock. Is that what she lost? "Oh, no, Inspector, I'm sorry, but this isn't my knit bag," said Annette. "My bag is made of yarn, not string," and she showed him a soft ball of yarn. Needless to say, Peckit was embarrassed, especially with that cat Cativa watching him. Before taking flight, he poked his head inside the window and gave her his most suspecting look. Peckit returned the ball of string to the surprised boy with the sailboat and then flew off to a safe perch on the awning above a cafe. To his amazement, right below him on a table, he saw something round and white and yarn-like. With the swiftness of a gust of wind, Peckit swept down and picked up what he was sure was Annette's lost bag. It was spaghetti, heaped high on a dish. Of course, Peckit realized his mistake immediately. Never had he tasted anything so delicious. After sipping in the last strand of spaghetti, he set out once again to solve the mystery of the missing knit bag. The shadows of the day were lengthening now, making it difficult for even a sharp-eyed detective to see clearly. Nevertheless, Peckit went snooping along the streets from doorway to doorway. All at once, he stopped in his tracks. There, at the entrance to a pastry shop, he spotted something soft and round and yarn-like. This time he was absolutely certain it was the lost bag, and just as he was about to snatch it, up it hopped and trotted away. "Fooled again," snapped Peckit disgustedly, "and by a fancy French poodle." It was almost dark now, and before continuing his search, Peckit decided to check in with his mate, Viv. He knew she would be waiting for him on their perch in the Eiffel Tower. Spreading his wings wide, he floated down to a perfect landing. There on the scaffolding was Viv, cozily nestled inside a nest he had never seen before. "Where in the world did you ever find such an elegant nest, my dove?" Peckit asked. "It's lovely, isn't it?" she cooed. "I found it under a bench in the park this morning." Look at his face. "In the park?" screeched Peckit, his eyes lighting up like flaming pinwheels. "That isn't a nest. It's the soft, round, white knit bag I've been searching for all day. It belongs to Annette, and I must get it back to her right away." Viv knew better than to question a working detective. She quickly hopped aside and watched. As Peckit flew across the moonlit sky, carrying the rumpled bag in his beak. He landed with a flutter on Annette's windowsill, but all was dark and still inside the room. Setting down the bag, he gently pecked on the window pane. "Is that you, Inspector Peckit?" called Annette. She jumped out of bed and ran to open the window wide. You found it! You found my birthday bag!" she exclaimed with joy. "Oh, thank you! Where did you find it?" We won't go into that," chirped Peckit modestly. "Let's just say it was all in a day's work." For a minute, Annette couldn't think how best to thank her friend. "Here," she said finally, holding up a ball of soft blue yarn. "Maybe you can find use for this to build a nest someday." Cativa was awake now, too. "I wish your cat would stop looking at me so suspiciously," he said. "She acts as if I stole the knit bag." "Oh, don't mind Cativa," Annette said kindly. "That's just her natural look." Peckit felt much better. He preened his feathers and bid Annette good night. He even gave Cativa a parting wink before she flew back across the sleeping city of Paris to where Viv was waiting patiently. "Oh, Pecky," she cooed when she saw the gift he had brought her. "Now we will have the coziest nest in the Eiffel Tower." It was a little bit long, but I like that story. Sometimes it's fun to figure out mysteries. Maybe you'll do that today. Have a great day.